While most of us struggle to keep our heating bills in check every winter, there's a community that's found a way to stay comfortably warm without relying on modern utilities. No electric heaters, no gas furnaces, just time-honored techniques that make their living rooms cozy even in the coldest months. Today, we're stepping into the Amish world to uncover how they manage to maintain gentle warmth year after year, completely off-grid. Stay with us as we explore the ingenious, sustainable methods that allow the Amish to heat their homes without gas or electricity. Number 1. Orientation and external environment. Amish builders position homes to harness natural elements that favor warmth without introducing modern devices. They often situate the main living area so that its largest windows face the sun's low arc in winter, capturing maximum solar radiation. The land surrounding the home is carefully chosen. A slight hillside might shield against prevailing winds, while a cluster of evergreen trees placed at strategic angles can serve as a natural windbreak. Some communities plant dense hedges or position barns on the property's windward side, mitigating harsh gusts that would otherwise steal indoor heat. Roof lines may be slightly adjusted in pitch to optimize the angle of winter sunlight through attic windows, if present. Thick shrubbery near foundation walls can slow heat loss by reducing air infiltration around the building's base. The Amish also consider ground conditions. If the soil stays relatively dry near the house, the lower moisture reduces conductive heat loss through the foundation. Drainage ditches and gravel layers help prevent dampness under floors, improving insulation value. Around some homes, reflective snow cover is used to advantage. Clearing snow at certain angles can bounce limited winter sunlight onto south-facing walls. When natural ponds freeze, the ice may reflect light, increasing solar gain inside if windows are angled to catch that subtle gleam. Wind direction data and average local temperatures become part of an oral tradition. Families learn which configurations work best through decades of trial and correction, gradually refining where a porch might provide a buffer zone or how a small addition can create a pocket of still air. Entrances are often placed away from prevailing winds, reducing cold drafts each time someone steps inside. Exterior doors, sometimes double-layered, open into small vestibules that trap frigid air before it can penetrate deeper into living spaces. Overhangs and eaves are carefully calculated so that in summer, when the sun's path is higher, direct rays are limited, reducing indoor overheating. But in winter, that lower sun angle reaches deep into the living room, warming floors, chairs, and even masonry surfaces. By treating the home and its surroundings as interdependent elements of a larger thermal system, Amish families improve baseline temperatures before even lighting a fire. They need no thermostats. The landscape and structure itself form the first line of defense against the season's chill. Such planning ensures that less fuel is required later, as the house cooperates with nature rather than fighting it. Number 2, thermal envelope and material choices. Once they've oriented the house, Amish craftsmen focus on creating a tight thermal envelope to keep warmth where it belongs, inside. They rely on materials that store and release heat at a slow pace. Walls may incorporate natural fibers like sheep's wool batting, carefully carded and layered behind wooden planks. In some cases, locally sourced flax fibers or cattail fluff provide extra insulation in crevices. Thicker than average studs and close-fitting tongue and groove boards reduce air leakage. Inside, earth-based plasters mixed with straw can form interior wall layers that add thermal mass, moderating temperature swings. Floors are often constructed with multiple layers, stout oak beams, subflooring that's tightly sealed, and final floorboards that fit so snugly they barely allow a whisper of cold air through. Below them, A crawl space might be lined with packed clay or sand to reduce moisture accumulation. Sometimes a thick layer of crushed limestone or even pumice rock is added for insulation. Beneath external siding, Amish carpenters may install a layer of wood fiberboard or compressed straw panels to increase R values without relying on synthetic insulation. Window frames are meticulously sealed with natural caulks, beeswax combined with linseed oil or resin-based putties, keeping out drafts. Interior shutters made from dense hardwood can be closed at night, creating a cavity of still air that buffers against heat loss through glass. During the day, these shutters can be opened to welcome solar warmth. Occasionally, double-glazed windows without modern coatings appear, but they remain rare. More commonly, single-pane windows are improved by adding a removable interior storm panel. Woven tapestries hung on walls, heavy woolen curtains, and layered quilts pinned over door frames further impede heat transfer. The thickness of interior doors, sometimes 2 inches or more, and their tight-fitting thresholds help maintain distinct temperature zones. Even the choice of paint or finish matters. Some interior surfaces are given darker hues to absorb rather than reflect the limited winter sunlight, turning light into gentle warmth radiating back into the room. Amish builders ensure these methods are adaptable. If a particular insulation technique proves less effective in a given climate, they experiment with another. There's no reliance on plastic foams or fiberglass rolls. Instead, they continuously refine their use of clay, wood, fiber, and other renewable resources. This results in living rooms that maintain comfortable temperatures with minimal fuel input, relying on every structural element to support heat retention. Number 3, advanced stove and fuel innovations. Although the Amish eschew electricity, they embrace ingenuity in stove design and fuel usage. Beyond simple iron wood stoves, they experiment with batch burn systems that ignite fuel at high temperatures, leaving minimal ash and extracting maximum heat. Some settlements employ masonry stoves, featuring an internal labyrinth of channels that guide hot combustion gases through thick masonry walls before venting outside. Others refine the concept further by adding specialized refractory bricks that increase burn efficiency, turning small amounts of hardwood into hours of radiant warmth. Certain communities have begun adopting improved downdraft stove designs that pull smoke through a secondary burn chamber, consuming particulates and yielding cleaner, hotter fires. Fuel selection is strategic. While oak and hickory remain favorites for their long, steady burns, when those are scarce, they might supplement with fruit woods like apple or cherry, prized for their aroma and decent BTU output. In regions where hardwoods are less abundant, they might compress agricultural residues, corn cobs, nutshells, into dense, slow-burning briquettes. This reduces reliance on purchased coal or less sustainable resources. Some families utilize charcoal-making kilns on their own property, transforming scrapwood into dense charcoal lumps that burn hotter and cleaner than raw logs, helpful for especially cold spells. Another subtle trick involves preheating intake air. By routing incoming combustion air through a small chamber warmed by the stove, the fire burns more efficiently, reducing fuel consumption. Stoves occasionally incorporate rudimentary heat exchangers that pass hot gases around a metal reservoir of water, creating a supply of hot water without electricity. This water might then circulate by gravity through pipes embedded in floors or walls, providing gentle, radiant heat in adjacent spaces. Such systems demand careful maintenance, but the payoff is a more even warmth. While some communities prefer the simplicity of a single large stove, others integrate multiple smaller units placed strategically around the home. This zoning allows better control over which rooms stay warmer. focusing resources on living areas where people gather. Over time, these innovations evolve. If an experimental stove design works well for one household, word spreads, and the concept is refined collaboratively. In this environment, solutions emerge gradually through practice and observation, yielding stoves that approach the efficiency of modern units without relying on external power. Amish stove culture underlines that technology need not be electric to be effective. Design, materials, and craftsmanship can achieve remarkable warmth from modest fuel inputs. Number 4. Airflow management without electricity. With no fans or blowers at their disposal, the Amish rely on convection, stack effect, and natural diffusion to circulate warmth. They carefully design interior layouts so that warm air rising near the stove naturally drifts toward cooler areas. Small transoms above doors or wooden grates in walls help equalize temperatures between rooms. In some instances, homeowners carve discrete channels behind paneling that move warm air from the living area into an adjoining space. Open stairwells allow heat to rise into upper floors, while quilts hung at certain points can direct or block airflow as needed. Humidity control is subtle but vital. Overly dry air feels colder. In response, Amish families may keep shallow ceramic bowls of water on or near the stove surface. As the water evaporates, it boosts humidity, making the ambient temperature feel more comfortable. Conversely, if conditions are too damp, they might increase ventilation briefly during midday. Identifying draft sources is another skill. Tiny gaps at the base of a door or around a window frame are sealed with strips of cloth or specially shaped wooden beads. Some may add a simple roll of tightly woven fabric along the bottom of doorways as a movable draft stopper. If a particular corner of the room remains chilly, they consider repositioning furniture to improve air circulation or placing a large heat-retaining object, like a clay pot or a stone slab, near that spot to buffer temperature differences. Without mechanical thermometers in constant view, families learn to sense subtle temperature gradients. They notice how quickly their breath condenses near certain windows, how a candle flame flickers near a certain wall, or how fast a loaf of bread dough rises in one corner of the room compared to another. Such observations guide incremental adjustments until the airflow balances out. Over time, these micro-tactics produce living rooms that feel uniformly warm without forced air. By embracing the building's natural tendencies and working with hot air's inherent inclination to rise, they circulate heat efficiently. Each step, closing a curtain here, cracking a window there, shifting a lamp's position, fine-tunes the environment. It's a dynamic, responsive system, managed intuitively. Instead of flicking a switch, they orchestrate a symphony of subtle actions that keep everyone comfortable. Number 5. Textiles, furniture, and interior layout. Beyond architecture and stoves, the Amish employ an array of interior strategies to enhance warmth. Plush, hand-woven rugs cover floors, reducing the shock of walking on cold surfaces. Chairs and couches are often upholstered with thick, tightly woven fabrics that trap body heat. Seating arrangements cluster around the hearth or primary stove, ensuring everyone feels direct, radiant heat. Tables placed nearby allow daily tasks, mending clothes, reading, doing puzzles, to be done in cozy surroundings. Heavy wool blankets draped over wooden benches or rocking chairs add layers of insulation, while decorative tapestries on walls slow heat transfer. Some families install built-in wooden benches along interior walls. These benches can warm up slightly from room heat, offering pleasant seating even on frigid days. Cupboards and shelves placed on exterior walls provide a buffer zone, trapping a pocket of still air between the stored items and the outer surface. Thick curtains made from dense linen or wool hang not just over windows, but sometimes between archways, allowing the family to partition the living room into smaller zones on exceptionally cold nights. Portable room dividers constructed from wooden frames and quilted panels appear during severe cold spells, concentrating warmth where it's most needed. Furniture placement can guide airflow too. Low bookshelves near the stove encourage warm air to skim over their tops, then descend as it cools, creating a gentle circulation pattern. Short-legged tables allow warm air near the floor to radiate upward when people sit around them. Even the choice of wood species for furniture can matter. Denser woods store a bit more heat, while lighter woods cause less cooling sensation when touched. The Amish select colors carefully. Darker-toned upholstery absorbs more heat from sunlight or lamplight, while lighter colors reflect it, helping fine-tune the room's thermal balance. Cushions stuffed with natural fibers, wool, horsehair, or hemp breathe better than synthetic stuffing, reducing sweat and clamminess. Storage trunks can double as warmed seating surfaces if placed near the stove. Over time, a subtle interplay emerges. The furnishings themselves become part of the home's climate system. By arranging their interior environment to conserve and circulate warmth, the Amish transform the living room into a nest-like space that retains heat efficiently, ensuring comfort regardless of the outdoor temperature. Number 6. Seasonal adjustments and knowledge sharing. Heating a living room off-grid is not static. It changes with the seasons and evolves across generations. As autumn approaches, Amish families prepare by moving heavier rugs into place, hanging thicker curtains, and bringing out winter bedding. Windows might be sealed more tightly, and exterior shutters are checked for proper fit. Once the first frost arrives, the home's configuration is set to trap as much heat as possible, ensuring that by midwinter, everyone remains comfortable. In milder weather, lighter fabrics, thinner rugs, and open shutters encourage gentle solar gain without overheating. The knowledge behind these practices circulates informally. Parents explain to children how to assess wood dryness by sound. The sharper the crack when two logs are struck, the drier the wood. Adolescents learn to detect subtle drafts by feeling for temperature differences along baseboards. Neighbors may discuss how a particularly cold winter tested certain insulation methods, prompting small refinements next season. At community gatherings, stove builders share lessons from recent installations, which clay mixture produced better chimney liners, how a slight modification in the smoke channeling improved burn efficiency, or how a certain arrangement of furniture yielded more even heat. If someone in the settlement experiments with a new homemade sealant compound for window frames and finds it effective, others adopt the method. Regional differences also matter. In hillier terrain, they note how altitude affects dryness and temperature swings. In flatter, open farmland, wind patterns might dominate the conversation. While traditions are deeply respected, these communities are not static museums. They evolve slowly, integrating what works and discarding what doesn't. Over decades, a body of localized knowledge emerges that allows the Amish to maintain their off-grid heating approaches, even as forests mature, climates subtly shift, or building materials change. Seasonal routines also extend to maintaining equipment. Chimneys are cleaned before the heating season, stoves inspected after heavy use, and any worn-out parts replaced with locally made components. Fuel supplies are carefully inventoried each year, ensuring that next season's needs inform current harvesting and seasoning practices. This cyclical, multi-generational approach guarantees that the techniques remain relevant, refined, and resilient, producing stable indoor climates that cost little beyond sweat and time, and ensuring that these old-fashioned methods remain practical well into the future. Number 7. Continuous adaptation and subtle innovations. Although outsiders might see Amish methods as archaic, their approach to heating without gas or electricity is dynamic. Small but meaningful innovations emerge continuously. A family may discover that lining the underside of a staircase with woolen mats reduces drafts leading upstairs. Another might test a new type of clay mortar that stores more heat when applied around the stove's firebox. Over time, these micro improvements accumulate, raising efficiency and comfort. Some communities experiment with semi-underground living rooms, partially built into a hillside to leverage the Earth's steady temperatures. Others try variations of masonry heaters, altering channel shapes inside the masonry mass for better heat dispersion. Occasional exposure to non-Amish literature or catalogs can introduce new concepts in traditional form. A snippet of information about a more efficient chimney cap might inspire a local metalworker to craft a similar design. Certain families measure internal temperatures with simple mercury thermometers, noting differences over the season and connecting them to specific adjustments they made in layout or materials. They might record these findings in handwritten journals passed down, creating a rudimentary but effective body of data-driven practice. As newer materials become available, heavier linen fabrics, different types of regional hardwood, improved oil lamps, the Amish integrate them if they align with their principles. Imported lamp mantles that yield brighter light and slightly higher heat output might be adopted if they don't violate community guidelines. The goal is never rapid change, but steady improvement. Another subtle strategy involves how they schedule daily chores. Baking bread in the early morning might warm the room before anyone fully stirs, reducing the need for extra fuel. Ironing clothes near the stove adds warmth and humidity. These layered synergies, discovered through practical experience, let them extract maximum comfort from minimal energy inputs. The community's collective memory stores these refinements. Over time, older generations might joke that their homes are far warmer now than when they were children, not because of gadgets or wires, but thanks to countless incremental tweaks. The Amish demonstrate that complex comfort can be achieved through patience, creativity, and cooperation with natural forces. Each small improvement, be it a better fitting shutter, a thicker rug, a more cleverly placed shelf, cumulatively results in living rooms that remain warm, pleasant, and functional without relying on gas lines, electrical heating elements, or modern HVAC systems. This quiet evolution ensures that their way of heating continues to meet the demands of changing seasons, resource variations, and community values, all while maintaining the peaceful, self-reliant character they cherish.